afternoon. Welcome. My name is Erica Walker, the co-host. Good evening. Welcome to the Raymond Hall Show. I'm Erica Flynn Walker, here with Mr. Raymond Hall, host of the broadcast of the Raymond Hall Show, where we speak of importance of service and those who serve. Good evening.
Well, I am so glad to be back here in the studio. We got a redacted program this evening. Usually we are 1 hour long, but things just seem to fall out the way that they are. So good evening to you, and good evening to Mars Media Studios, Miss Felicia, and I can't see that well, but I'm looking for Mr. Johnny back there. I don't know whether he's back there or not. She says no, but that's like my, as you all know, my mentor and inspiration. We're here in February.
Yes.
And it's packed with stuff.
Yes.
We didn't even have to add the stuff.
The stuff, right.
But it's just packed.
It's February the 1st.
February the 1st.
The year is already in full swing.
Okay. And one of the most important things that we wanted to make a part of our broadcast this month is Black History Month.
Yes, Black History Month.
All right. And you had one of the things that was so very important to me. Everyone knows that I'm a veteran and know how important veterans are to me. But you had spoke to me about your family member, your uncle. I think you said that was a part of that Harlem. They call them the Harlem Hellraisers.
Right. Well, you gave me a pretty much a inside view and a background on it because I didn't have all of the details. I just know a few short stories that he shared with me about his military time and where he fought. And Mr. Hall gave me the backstory on that, and they were a very well-known group of young men. And were there women at that time or no?
No, it was exclusively men. It was African-American men, and they were all out of Harlem.
Okay.
And, this show talks about service, and we learn as we go.
Yes, we do.
It's impossible for one person to know everything about everything that has gone on, every contribution that has gone on that has put us in the position where we are today.
Right.
But if you want to hear something that's really inspiring, veteran or no veteran,
right.
If you want to hear something that speaks to service and will leave you at a point of wow, now that's a contribution.
Right.
What can my contribution be? You should definitely look at the contribution of these young men. They were we did some research. We did, matter of fact, we did quite a bit of research. I'm one of those people, the internet says so much. On 6.
Exactly.
On page 6.
Okay.
If you go to page 6, they do so much. The internet has so much. Sometimes you have to do a filter on top of the filter and on top of the filter.
Right.
So what we did, and it was personal and family to her, and new. Some of it was new, and some of it I'd heard about rumors of, but I just never put my hand on the truth. And these young men are so much a part of our rich history. Page 6 is actually talking about Black History Month, so we'll go to page 8 and then come back to that. Like I said, we're doing a redacted part, and I titled this "The World Recognized."
Right.
Black in America, death but not dishonor.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, but everywhere you go in the world, these men's story was told, and they were highly decorated and highly recognized, especially the French.
Right.
Because they served with the French. But when they came back to America,
they were not recognized.
They were not read. They died.
Right. Well,
they were never without honor. They didn't die with dishonor.
Okay.
They just the natural course of death.
Right.
And so they were the 339th Infantry Regiment.
Okay.
And they were also known as the 16th.
The 16th.
New York National Guard Regiment. And in World War II,
World War One.
In World War One, they
War
served the
One.
black and the black people, all black in World War One. But in World War II, there was some Puerto Ricans that served with them.
That got in.
They got in. But in World War One was where they made their name.
Right. Because that's where the story that I heard in my family, which was that African Americans could fight in the military, but they couldn't wear the uniform. So he fought in France, and then he wore a French uniform, although he was fighting. This is just a family story that I was told. So that's why we're gonna follow up on this to give you some more background, which is what Mr. Hall did to bring everything together about these individuals that were African American. They were some of the first ones. They fought side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the French military, and he was in the branch of the army. So, this is a very, very rich history and world recognized group of men that we're talking about here.
Okay. Your family told you the absolute truth. That's exactly what happened.
See.
Okay. They were American soldiers, but they had to wear the uniform of the French. And when they returned or certain other things, they were on leave or something, they had to put back on the American uniform. And this article and other articles that talked about how the white soldier did not want to serve with them. Okay. Now, around the world, they were called one of three things. They were either called the
American
Harlem Hellfighters.
Harlem Hellfighters.
Black Rattlers. Now, even your enemy recognized them, called them the
American Expeditionary
Hellfighters.
The Hellfighters.
And they were given that name by the Germans, the enemy. And the Germans called them that name.
The men of bronze, which were given to these men by the French.
Because the medal that they were given was a bronze medal.
Wow. See, that's why I'm feeling so French and wee today. I mean, who knew? So I'm feeling, I'm feeling the vibe. And that's why my uncle used to always say he loved the French people. He liked the French people love me, so I love them back.
That's right. And that's exactly what happened. Wow. So when they were given the designation, the men of bronze, that was a high honor to the French.
Right.
You were given this medallion, this medal that was bronze, but at the time to say a man of bronze, now we're all electronic and digital and everything else. But back then, you had the iron, the bronze, and that was a thing.
Right.
But what took me even more is when the Germans gave them a name, and the Germans gave them a name of Hellfighters. Okay.
Due to their toughness, that they never lost a man through capture, lost a French or a foot of ground to the enemy. Now that's really, really good information.
Now, in World War I, remember, the war was fought not like we fight drones from a plane and all of that stuff. This thing was a lot of trench warfare.
Right.
And that's why you saw a lot of the things that are outlawed today, some of the gases, the mustard gases.
They use that type of thing.
They used that in World War I because these soldiers was in these trenches fighting.
Right.
So what the Germans said is these black
these particular soldiers
out of Harlem, they gave the Germans hell.
Wearing a French uniform.
They didn't back up. They didn't leave not one trench. Whatever trench they was in, they defended it. They didn't back up. And there's they tell the story of one of the more celebrated...
in France, the 369th was treated as if they were not different from any other French unit. The French did not show hatred towards them and did not racially segregate the 369th regiment. This is the regiment that we're speaking of. Finally felt what it was like to be treated equal. And that's what he used to always say about and I never... Well, you know what? It all comes back home at the end of the day.
Right. Okay. Now, when we look at this, now let's back up a little bit. Okay. This being February the 1st is the beginning
Black History
of
Month.
Black History Month. Okay. So let's talk about the emphasis of Black History Month.
Okay.
Black History Month started with Black History Week.
Okay.
Okay. We what the man say, spiritually you can pack your bags for Hawaii and wind up in Haiti or something. I forgot what the preacher
man
said.
said. Oh, the preacher said. Okay.
So we prepared for the show, but
Right.
just things happening, show is what it is.
Right.
But this was a backdrop, a real live scenario to what started Black History Month.
Wow.
So we're going to back up a little bit, and when you look on page 6, and it'll say Negro History Week.
Okay, in 1915, Woodson helped found the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, today known as the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. The idea for an organization devoted to Black history came to Woodson as he was discussing the release of the racist film The Birth of the Nation, which we've all been familiar with. Discussing it with the group of African American men at the YMCA in Chicago, Wilson convinced the group of African Americans needed to organize that would strive for the balance in history that we're still, working
What
on
he's
today.
saying is that at the YMCA, Chicago was not only a industrial city. At the end of World War I, they talk about the movement in World War II, but you actually saw the beginning of the movement at the end of World War I.
Okay.
When African Americans started moving up out of Arkansas and Mississippi and Tennessee. Well, the places that they moved to was New York and Chicago and Detroit.
Exactly.
So that's kind of thing. So that's why this cultural center and discussing the beginning of this organization in Chicago was important. And you can go back now. We must say that this article was written by Lisa Vox.
Lisa Vox, okay, and it was updated on June 21st, 2017.
Right, okay. So it says the origins of Black History Month lay in earlier 20th century historian Carter G. Woodson. Woodson's desire to spotlight the accomplishments of African Americans, mainstream African Americans' history up until the time of the 1960s. And Woodson worked his entire career to correct this blinding oversight. His creation of the Negro History Week in 1926 paved the way for the establishment of Black History Month in 1976. Now, before he did this, in an earlier time, this is important. We're talking about service, remember?
Right.
The Raymond Hall show, what is our banner? Service, a different conversation. These men were having conversations about service, but they were putting some work in.
Right.
Okay, I imagine them Harlem Hellfighters, they didn't have much conversation with them
No,
Germans.
they didn't have time to talk.
They
were in the trenches.
Okay,
Right.
yeah. So here is this Mr. Woodson that decides that before he gets started, it was go back and read this article and read other articles. It'll tell you it was an organized effort to not write in the contributions of the Negro, as that day was called.
Right, at that time.
In American history.
Right.
Period.
Okay.
Okay? There was no credit given by mainstream historians of any contributions of history. So we did it a little bit backwards.
Okay.
But now you see why the Harlem Hellfighters
Paved the way.
And what they did was so vitally important.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Absolutely.
When here you have some people, because we didn't tell their story, we just told the story of the unit. We didn't tell about all of the battles and everything that they won.
That the unit, that the unit encountered.
Encountered. They had one battle where their French counterparts were told to go and take two towns.
Right.
And these brothers, they were so fast, I was laughing because, the Germans is credited with the term blitzkrieg.
Oh, really?
We'll straight run over you.
Oh, really?
We got tanks in there. Everybody else was fight, shoot, stop, fight, shoot. It's wintertime.
The Germans came with the heavy artillery.
With the heavy artillery, and we moving. We're at blitzkrieg. You wake up today, you're in your land. You wake up tomorrow, we done did the blitzkrieg, and now you in our stuff. Did we say something about them shithole countries?
Can you simmer down?
Oh, okay. That's not Blitzkrieg.
Right. That's not Blitzkrieg.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Is it Blitzkrieg? What word are you saying now?
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg was a term that was used in World War II.
In World War II.
And it was a term used by a different style of warfare.
Okay.
They weren't used to that type of fast-paced warfare. They just relentlessly sent this army after you. It wasn't the let's shoot, fight, stop, back, hold back, eat, have some wine. They
didn't do it like that.
They didn't go
Which
like
they
that.
still do fight like that in war. Is it true?
No, they don't
do that?
No. Somebody catch you with some, you gonna get got. Okay. But
it's not funny. I'm just saying that it's all relevant, and when you think about the seriousness of it, someone is out there literally on the line fighting, and they don't get a chance to say, okay, I'm gonna have a break right now.
Well, like I shared with the audience the earlier time, there was a young man at the church, and he was a United States Marine, and something dawned on me. Here's this young man that he doesn't even get to have a comment one way or the other about what happens at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, because the president is the commander-in-chief, and the United States Marine Corps is the only branch of service that is moved at the direction of the president.
Wow.
Now,
look at all this new information and history that we're learning here. Well, this segment of Raymond Hall Show is sponsored by the House of Cause. The Doctor is In by Burrell Payne, MD.
Right.
And so what we like to do is say thank you to our sponsorship from House Calls. The Doctor is In by Dr. Burrell Payne, MD.
Yeah, I thought that was unique.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Instead of talking about he has a flyer, and we're going to make sure that it's posted on our website.
Okay.
And I don't know if the studio has it, but we'll make sure that it's up. But it's The Doctor is In.
Right, the House Calls, which I've always been a fan of, saying, why don't they make house calls? Why don't they make house calls? And he literally is, initiating, like, the doctor is in. You can come in, you can sit, and you can talk to the doctor. And Dr. Payne's House Calls is a healthcare information form where you can get healthcare information in a forum-like setting where you can ask questions. It's going to be held on Saturday, February the 3rd, 2018, from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall Community Room, first floor. It's hosted by ClearPath Life Center, BHP Medical Consultants, Real Results 30, and Blue Green Beret, there's that beret, Health Warriors.
Okay. Also, Dr. Payne is the president of American Legion Post 109.
Right, so he is a veteran.
Yeah.
Which branch was he in?
He was in the Army, but I forgive him for that.
Okay, these different branches.
Yeah, I forgive him for that.
Okay.
He and I always had this conversation about Army to Marine, but he got two things going.
What is it?
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
And he's a good man. So we'll no, let me stop. We thank everybody that served and no matter what branch it is, the United States Army, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, the United States Marine Corps. Hoorah to all of you Marines out there, and the United States Coast Guard. And
each and every mother, daughter, family member that has supported each one of those branches, and the men and women that serve within those branches, we salute you and say thank you.
Yeah.
From the Raymond Hall Show.
All right. So anyway, you all check that event out. Now, we're going to post it, but to RSVP, some time ago when we started, we're going to give them a chance to get that pen, huh?
Yes, sir. We'll give them a chance. You can RSVP at 323-903-5452. And please bring your questions. This is what the doctor is in. Dr. Payne is saying, bring your questions and any concerns that you have when you come. Because, when you get there in front of the doctor, it seems like you never remember what you want to ask the doctor. So This is just an FYI. If you have something that you're concerned about, jot it down. And then when you get there, you can be in the house call with the doctor.
Because they're covering some good topics. They're covering diabetes, hypertension, weight loss, cholesterol. They're covering a lot of things, flu vaccinations. They're having free skin and facial treatments.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
They have a cardio dancer-size demonstration, financial health and wealth, and also they will be having refreshments will be served, a raffle and door prize, Clipper basketball tickets, and restaurant gift certificates will be there for you to receive, but you just need to show up to this event because we know it's going to be very successful. And again, RSVP at 323-903-5452.
Okay, that's the doctor is in. Now, that's our sponsor for, we have this redacted section, but we want to, I want to mention a couple of other things. I was expecting a caller, but it really is my fault. The show is a program for an hour, and I was held up at a engagement that was unscheduled, but it was vitally that I attended. I got out of the hospital, as you know, 2 days ago.
Right.
And they had to run some tests.
And you still here, you looking good, you working, you keeping it pushing. That's all we can do. Be thankful to God.
Thank God
for his mercy and grace.
Because we just buried my brother.
Yes, you just buried one. I want to give my condolences publicly to Mr. Hall and his family for his family member that passed on.
Yeah, Douglas. Yeah, they called him Doug. He was a remarkable young man. Yeah. He started a project. He had a computer company all the time, but he started a project inside of that where he taught seniors computers and those that was non-sighted, Braille. He taught them computers and such too. So he has
that's really, really great.
Yeah, so he had two daughters. He had twins, two daughters that survived.
Twins running your family?
Okay. No, I just have Tiffany.
Oh, you just said, no, but I mean, if someone in your family has a set of twins, then that means somewhere in there, someone else in the family could have a set of twins, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to make a joke.
I know.
I thought about it. I got to answer that phone when Tiffany called.
Exactly.
So
but in the meantime, in between time, we like for you to like us, follow us, The Raymond Hall Show, at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at The Raymond Hall Show .info@gmail.com, or you can call us for any questions or concerns or comments at 323-841-7365. Again, my name is Erica Flynn Walker. I'm the co-host of The Raymond Hall Show, and it's been such a thrill to be here with you today.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to next week. We are going to have, what did you say, ticker streaming banner?
Right. A banner so that you can have the information right there on your screen of how to get in contact with us or how to stream live while we're live on the air.
Okay. We found that in our survey, whatever it was, that the demographics. We had demographics. Some people preferred to listen and listening at it streaming. Some people preferred to look at it live.
Right.
And it seemed to run across the age demographic. It seemed like the more elderly people like to look at it on TV some kind of way. So what we're going to do? So what we're going to do is we're going to start in one of the. I would just want to address the issue because it's very important. We heard you when you talked about your challenge in reaching the show when you wanted to look at it. We are going to be working with Morris Media Studio, and by the way, they are on the cutting edge when it comes to studio. This studio is fabulous, so all of you all that are looking to do business and promote your business and have a media component, consider Morris Media. Now, you got that choice because some men back in World War I fought and suffered indignities just so you'd have choices like everybody else. So make sure you include Morris Media as a legitimate choice that you have when you go to make your selection of where to put your media dollars. Now, but back to the point, we want to make sure that those persons that made a point that said that they wanted to look at us live, that we address that issue. So we're going to do a couple of things for sure. We're definitely going to put it up on our page, on all of our pages, our web page, our Facebook, Twitter, wherever it is. We're going to put exactly how you connect with us live.
Right.
And then we're going to list, you have all of the platforms, social platforms that we are on in streaming. Okay. That's one thing. The second thing is that we're opening up our phone because we want to hear from you.
Right. We want to hear your comments.
We want to hear your comments. We want to know what program you would like to hear from us.
Right. Where would you like us, Mr. Raymond Hall, and us to go around and talk about that you may want to go around with us here at the Raymond Hall Show? Because, that's what it is. It's a community effort. We all want to work together. We want to hear what you have to say and what's on your mind, because that is what is the fundamental basis of us all getting together.
Okay. And I'm not going to get caught up, jacked up, whooped up, coughed up. This is still also Valentine's month.
Yes.
So I had stuck Big Bobby in there, but Big Bobby, you got cut short because we had to cut the show short. But Big Bobby Womack. Out of Chicago.
Okay, he was out of Chicago.
Big Bobby Womack. Okay. They just called him Bobby Womack. Right, but folk that know called him Big Bobby Womack.
Wow.
But he had a song, no matter how high I get, I still be looking up to you. So remember to say something to that person that we really should recognize more often, on all serious note. But remember to say something to him, and remember to say something to him. We don't have much left, but we want to do a couple of other things that we have to take care of. Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker has launched. She launched it some time ago, but we definitely want to recognize it and let her talk a minute about I'm a Luxury.
Yes, okay. I'm a Luxury is a perfect space for the high-end shopping concierge. It's a perfect place for the high-end shopper. If you like name brands and you like quality over quantity, this is a place for you. I'mALuxury.com, where you can go there and you can shop from Macy's. You can shop from Bloomingdale's items, quality. I even have some special picks that I've chosen there for each person of diversity, like even from Dre Beats. So what I'd like for you to do is go to I'mALuxury.com, and we'll look forward to doing business with you. Thank you.
All right, and we definitely want to mention the cards, because these cards are so unique that it just speaks to the time of the month for Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Right. Pretty Cards by Sonia can be purchased at Zara's. They're on La Brea in the city of Inglewood.
Okay. All right. So what we want to do is we want to say, look around in your community. Where does your talent fit? Where does your interest fit? We've talked here today. I want to thank Miss Lavada Theus. She said that she would take time out of her day to talk to us about something that's very important that's coming up here in the community. We have a special election coming up. So I'm going to say to her that even though we weren't able to get you on, not through you, but because of our just running short out of time, we want to definitely invite you to come back. We also want to thank the CSL. We're looking forward to having them on maybe in a month or so and talk about those 10 proposals. I didn't know it, but I was told that there's actually 10 proposals that have passed on into law through this organization.
Okay. Through the California Senior Legislature?
Through the California Senior Legislature. That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. So the Raymond Hall Show wants to give a spotlight to the senior and veterans communities.
That's correct. Okay.
Most often we find their voices a little softer and their step a little softer, yet they remain sturdy giants when we look over their lives of service.
Yes. Well, again, to Morris Media and Miss Felicia and her dad, Johnny, to the community, to the Leimert Park community. Have you talked to our friends there at
Healthy African American Families?
We want to reach out to them and say hello. Felicia is so kind. Our time is up. She's not telling us we got to do anything, but you just got to do it out of here. Okay.
You can feel the vibe coming from there right now. I know, I feel it. Oui, madame.
So we're looking forward to seeing you back here next week.
For a full hour.
Yes, for a full hour. I guess I'm just going to have to camp outside the door and turn my phone off or something. But we thank you. We're going to see you right back here next week. My name is Raymond Hall, and I'm here with equal host Erica Flynn Walker. We're talking about service.
Yes.
Service is vitally important. Mm-hmm. We purposefully have not started down the road on number 45 and 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'll say one thing to you. You must do your job. There is not a Senate president. There is not a House president. There's one president, and he has a specific function. He does not have the power to tell the FBI and the Department of Justice what to do. Now, I'm not in your camp. I'm standing on a foundation that was given to me through those who gave service that I would have liberty to be able to speak. Senate, House, your instrument, your tool is your speech and your vote. Do your job. That's what's required of you. It's not an option of you, it's a required of you. This is a democracy. If you are tired of your job and you want to get away,
step aside.
That's a Southwest commercial, huh? We ain't talking about that. Go away. If you're tired of doing your job, go away. Don't change an entire democracy because you have allegiance to something that's just a mirage. You sit up and you let somebody dismantle something that helped a nation of people just so one person could say he's going to do their job. And what is the wall for? Who gonna get paid for it? Nobody on my block gonna win that contract. Okay? Ain't nobody on my block never won no gazillion dollar contract to build a wall.
Well, we live in a new day and time, and what we're going to do is just be thankful for the things that we do. Well, as for me and my house.
Well, you know what thankfulness is? Giving service.
Yes, it is. So I'm just going to continue. You continue.
If you don't give service, you're being slowful.
Yes.
And the person that is going to benefit from slowful people is the people that we're looking at today. Now, the Raymond Hall Show is about service. One person, each person can do something. None of us have to do it all. But you got to get up and you got to vote. You got to put your prejudices and your ideologies aside, and you've got to ask a question. What is good for the nation? What was good for the nation when men and women went to World War I and could not even be recognized as American citizens? What was good for the nation when men and women and the sisters that marched and everybody else that were tormented said, I will suffer through these injustices because I will do what's best for the nation. Now is our time. It's our time. Injustice is no less unjust today as it was in another time. Somebody want to regulate you to of no importance. Your justice is your commitment to service. I want to thank you all for listening, and we want to invite you next week to listen to the Raymond Hall Show.
Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.
Have a good evening.
Ta-ta.
Bye.